If these stories help you rest, there's a way to support Lantern below. The Cottage at Graywater Point. Tonight, I want to tell you about a small white cottage at the end of a long dirt lane, on a stretch of coast where nothing much ever happens. That's why people go there. Nothing happening is the whole point. The cottage belongs to a woman named Marin. She inherited it from her great-aunt 11 years ago, along with a tin of mismatched buttons, a cast-iron kettle, and a cat door that no cat has used in living memory. Marin comes out every autumn, when the summer people have gone home, and the town shrinks back down to its true size. One bakery, one hardware store, a library open Tuesdays and Saturdays, and a harbor with 9 small boats. It's late October now. The light comes in low and gold in the afternoons, and by 5 o'clock, the sky over the water turns the color of the inside of a mussel shell. This evening, Marin is doing what she always does. She walked into the town around 4, bought a loaf of brown bread, still warm from the oven, a wedge of sharp cheese, and 2 pears. And now she's walking home along the shore path with the paper bag tucked under her arm. The path is sandy in some places and stony in others. She knows every turn of it. Here is the bench with the peeling green paint. Here is the gap in the beach roses where you can see the lighthouse, far off, beginning its slow nightly blinking. Here is the old rowboat someone dragged above the tide line 20 years ago and never came back for, silvered now, full of rainwater and one very confident gull. The air smells like salt and cold kelp and somebody's wood smoke. The waves are small tonight, unhurried, folding themselves onto the sand over and over, the way a person smooths a bedsheet. Fold and hush, fold and hush. By the time Marin reaches the cottage, the first stars are out. She lets herself in through the blue side door. It sticks. You have to lift the handle while you push. And the house exhales its familiar smell around her. Old wood, lavender from the sachets her great-aunt left in every drawer. Still faintly working after all these years. A little ash from the fireplace. She sets the bread down on the counter. She fills the cast-iron kettle and puts it on the stove. And while it heats, she moves through the small rooms, turning on the lamps. Never the overhead lights. Only the lamps. The cottage has 4 of them, each with a soft yellowed shade, and when they're all lit, the windows glow like something out of a storybook. A little lantern of a house at the edge of the dark water. The kettle begins its low whistle, and she catches it before it can really get going. Chamomile tonight, with a spoonful of honey from the jar with the handwritten label. She carries the cup to the chair by the front window, the good chair, the deep one, with the wool blanket folded over its arm. And she sits. Outside, the tide is coming in. She can't see it anymore. Not really. Just a darkness that moves a little differently than the darkness around it. But she can hear it. That endless, patient sound. Water has been making that sound on this exact shore for 10,000 years. It made it before the cottage, before the town, before anyone. It will go on making it, all night, whether anyone listens or not. Marin listens for a while. She thinks about small things, the way you do in a chair like that. The bread, and whether she'll toast some in the morning. The loose shutter on the north window that she should fix tomorrow, or the day after, or, honestly, whenever. A letter she means to write. None of it is urgent. Nothing here is urgent. The cottage doesn't know what urgent means. The fire she laid earlier has burned down to the coals now, deep orange, shifting and settling with little ticking sounds. Every so often, a single flame stands up, looks around, and lies back down. Her tea goes lukewarm, the way tea does when you're comfortable, and she drinks it anyway, down to the honey at the bottom. Around 9, the wind picks up. Just a little, enough to move through the beach grass outside in long, soft passes. Hush, hush, like the dunes are breathing. The cottage answers with its own small sounds, a creak in the rafters, the cat door swinging once on its hinge, tapping, then going still. Old houses talk to themselves at night. It isn't anything. It's just the house settling into the dark, the same as she is. Marin rinses her cup and leaves it on the rack. She banks the coals. She checks the blue door, lifted handle, pushed, locked, and climbs the narrow stairs, which are exactly 13 steps. And the 9th one always sighs under her foot. And tonight, like every night, it does. Her bedroom is small and sloped-ceilinged, tucked right up under the roof. The bed has a white iron frame and a quilt made of 48 squares of fabric, no two alike. The shirts and dresses and curtains from people she never met, all sewn together into one warm, useful thing. She opens the window an inch because she likes to sleep with the sound of the water in the room. And then she gets under the quilt and pulls it up to her chin and lies there in the dark with her eyes open for a minute, the way we all do, listening. The waves fold and hush, fold and hush. The lighthouse beam crosses the ceiling every 12 seconds. A faint, pale stripe that slides from one wall to the other and is gone. She doesn't count them. But if she did, she wouldn't get very far. 5 passes, maybe 6. Far out on the water, a buoy bell rings once, softly, moved by a swell. The wind makes its long pass through the grass. The 9th stair sighs to itself, just once, about nothing. And the cottage holds her, the way it held her great-aunt, the way it has held everyone who ever slept under its roof. A small white shape on the dark coast, lamps out now, windows quiet, with the whole patient ocean breathing beside it. Tomorrow there will be toast and the shutter, or not. Tomorrow can look after itself. Tonight there is only this quilt, the hush of the water, the slow stripe of the light crossing the ceiling, again and again and again. Sleep now. The sea will keep the time.